What's up, people? Welcome back to the BCMA podcast. That's the Black Clover Martial Arts podcast. It's your boy Lucky from Lucky's Muay Thai. This is session 2, episode 3, and I already shot this. Unfortunately, it did not record last week, so here we are again, back with a new episode, re-recording, as it were. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the Whitehouse speculation, Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano on Netflix, brought to you by Jake Paul. We'll discuss BJJ's SA problem, which is unfortunate as hell, but we did this. And last but not least, it's BMF week. That's Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira. I will give you my pick at the end of all this, so stick around. But first, if you like the show, tap the like, hit the subscribe button, pass it along, tell a friend, drop a comment below to help with the algorithm. If you want to stop by the gym, you know what it is. This is your favorite Muay Thai gym in Miami, Lucky's Muay Thai, www.luckysmt.com. We have Muay Thai, Jiu-Jitsu, great atmosphere, new location, everything's nice. You got to swing by and check it out, www.luckysmt.com. If you want to come get in shape, do some Jiu-Jitsu, do some Muay Thai, meet some good people, hit me up. Okay, first, let's talk about the Whitehouse card. There's a few things that we need to discuss here because it's not just about the card. It's about the whole. The whole. Now, first and foremost, let me just say this. We are now at war. So I know this card is supposed to be, I think, during the summer, and now it's supposed to be on Trump's birthday, something like that. But if this thing escalates, the war that is, escalates, I'm not sure that there will be a Whitehouse card. It may be unsafe. Like, there may be too much going on to be throwing a freaking gladiator thing at the White House during war where Americans are dying to then want to go watch people beat each other up. But maybe that's like a thing. I know for sure, through other media outlets, they've talked about how they want to put Americans on this card so that they can, show out the American machismo, as it were. I don't know if that's like real thing, but the real issue is that the UFC hasn't had a lot of American stars lately, and not a lot of stars in general. And the stars that they do have come from other countries for the most part. Kayla Harrison, who is an American star, just hurt her neck before the biggest fight of her life. Pretty much everybody else is from somewhere else. There might be like one other problem. I know I'm missing somebody. I know there's one person at least. Anyway, the point is, when you don't have American stars and your major market is America, it's where you are. It's going to be a problem. So they're trying to make this card. They're not only trying to make this card like that, they're trying to form the UFC like that. After all these Dagestani wrestlers came in, before that we had the Brazilians. That was always a thing. Like, the American stardom has gone away a little bit. And I don't know if that has to do with pay. Maybe athletes in America are like, man, I'll play football, play basketball. Even if I played on a semi-pro level, I'm probably going to do better than going to get my head beat in for a possible, at least in the beginning, 5-5 or 10-10 or $1,000 at the local place until you can get somebody to know your name. Like, D1 athletes, there are a few that's starting to do a little MMA, but most of the MMA guys now we're starting to see are younger guys that starting doing MMA as a whole when they were young as a sport. Not they came from jiu-jitsu, not they came from kickboxing. Most of these kids now that are starting to come up in the ranks, you're starting to see them a lot of come up in the UFC, their early 20s. A lot of these guys have only been doing MMA their whole lives. They didn't start off doing Muay Thai or Jiu-Jitsu or anything like that. So the UFC has got an issue here with how to make this Whitehouse card good, right? John Jones versus Pereira is more than likely going to be the headliner, and I'm with it. But I'm not sure how it plays out in the way, like it plays out for that day, right? Like, if John Jones wins, America's on top. I guess it works out either way, but he's probably never going to fight again after that. Pereira, which if he loses or if he wins, it's not an American winning, but he does make history for the UFC as the first person to get all 3 belts or get 3 belts, 3 different weight classes. It kind of works out either way for the most part. Ilya versus Islam, anybody? I feel like they're going to announce that fight. I feel like I know it's supposed to be Gaethje, but I almost feel like they're going to make Islam. I don't know why. I just have that feeling in my... I thought for a long time it was going to be Conor, DS3, but it doesn't seem to be that way. At least, Conor's acting like it's not going to be like that. I think it's going to be Conor DS3 probably midsummer. And that is going to be hell of exciting. So anyway, as far as the Whitehouse card is concerned, nobody knows anything. Jones and Pereira, we know because of, lately Pereira's relinquished his title. Jones has already mentioned that he's in negotiation. So that's the obvious headliner, right? Ilya's ready to fight, and he's got Gaethje or Islam Makhachev ahead of him, and maybe they make that fight at the Whitehouse if either one of those guys is down. Okay, here's the other part. I talked about this a little bit in the past, and it's about honor and respect. And I totally understand this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. For some people, that is all that matters. But I have to give a shout out to Brandon Moreno and Israel Adesanya. Whether they were politically motivated or not, they felt that way when they were asked. They were both asked at separate interviews, separate times, separate days by different interviewers about the Whitehouse card, which most fighters that are in the upper echelon are probably going to be asked about. Both of these gentlemen declined to want to be a part of this. They both come from countries where the president of our country has denounced, the people or how they run it or whatever the case may be. So I can completely understand why they would not want to be a part of this card. Brandon Moreno actually got frustrated and a little irritated about the question asked to him. So it begs to question, what is it worth to go and fight on this card on the Whitehouse lawn if at the end of it, the guy that wanted you to do it is on trial or is being impeached or, it could go great. Everything could go great for the people that are doing this, for the UFC, everybody else. Trump could make it all the way through the next 3, 4, 5 years, 6 years, 7, 8 years that he decides he wants to do. Yeah, I hate even saying that. But overall, I think there is. I have some understanding about why people want to do it, regardless of who was there. But I also feel like we have to look at these situations that are happening within our country and within our world, and we have to make really, really solid decisions about where we want our souls to be at the end of this. If you want to do it, I guess it's all up to you, man. Y'all are the stars. You're getting paid the money. You're getting the accolades, all that stuff. At the end of the day, it's always, where does your soul stand? So I'll leave that up to you guys to decide how important it is or how unimportant it is, or is it worth it at this point? As I said, Brandon Moreno and Israel Adesanya both stated, Brandon said, why would I be interested in that? And Israel Adesanya said, I'm not interested in that. Now, maybe these are giving media quotes to them to say, just to keep them out of trouble, but I get it. And that is probably the most genuine answer that you can give beyond saying something that might get you in trouble. So yeah, man, I don't know where everybody else stands on it. I know it's a big card. I know it's a big deal, but mixed emotions, big time. Also, you're going to put it on the lawn. There's not going to be any fans. I'm assuming they're going to sell pay-per-views for $200, like Floyd Conor or something like that. Floyd Pacquiao. I don't know, but it feels like maybe they're going to give it on Paramount, and I don't know. But Let me know how you feel in the comments. If you like this, if you don't like this, if you have some reservations about this card, about the Whitehouse card, let me know. Okay, Jake Paul. It, I mean, the man got his jaw broken, and he's right back in the boxing world. He's like, in the fight world, he's like, it's not over. He's like, I can't fight, but I can still promote. So under his MVP umbrella, he is putting on a fight between Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano. These are honestly the two. I mean, listen, if you know, you know, but Gumi Fuji is actually the first lady. But these are actually the first ladies of the UFC. Gina Carano predated Ronda Rousey. I was hoping when Ronda Rousey came into the UFC that we would see a Gina Carano Ronda Rousey fight, but it was not to be had. And here we are. 10 years since Ronda fought, 20 years since Gina fought. I don't know what to expect. I don't know how hard they've been training. I have no idea. What's more important about this fight is that Jake Paul is promoting it on Netflix. Why is that important? Is he trying to make an organization like the UFC? No. Is he trying to do one-off fights, MMA fights, like he does his boxing fights? Possibly. And now, all these organizations that tried to compete with the UFC or they're following the UFC model, maybe this is the right model. Most of those organizations don't do very well. But maybe this is the right model. Maybe the point is to do one-offs on Netflix. Blow the card up, take some former stars, some people that are still out there relevant, and put them in one-offs. And I'm assuming if you do this right, you're probably going to have some MMA fights, maybe and boxing card mixed together. Who knows? The possibilities are endless if you're doing one-offs. Freak fights, kickboxing, whatever you want to do. And I think that's the way to success if you're trying to compete for the viewership of MMA fans. And there is a vacuum forming because there are a lot of MMA fans that have left the right-tiered leaning UFC to watch other sports or looking for greener pastures. And one-offs, different organizations that might pop up a fight here and there, that's probably where they're headed to go get their MMA fix. So does anybody care about Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano? I would have a long time ago. I'm still going to watch it. But what's more important is Jake Paul may have cracked the code. How do you compete against the UFC? You don't. You do one-offs and you try to make the fights as interesting as possible. This is interesting for a whole nother reason. Like I said, this is two of women's Hall of Fame stars that really made women's MMA possible in the US. So shout out to him for putting women on once again and for possibly finding a way to be successful when competing in a world where the UFC gets most of the viewership. All right, before we get into that BMF title pick, we have to talk about this BJJ SA problem. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. There's been some issues with jiu-jitsu and SA. And what are those issues? Well, mostly, sorry if I'm away from the mic a little bit, mostly it's been instructors taking advantage of students, some of which that started early, and they grew with the with the gym that they were with, and then were taken advantage of by the instructors or owners of the gym. There seems to be a lot of this happening. I remember maybe a couple of years ago, there was a story about fights, not the Fight Sports, the main headquarters, but one of the Fight Sports affiliates had a coach there that had, quote, groomed someone And then that coach was helped out by whoever to, get out, move to another gym, whatever it was. And then I think it kind of disappeared, kind of. I've heard, people mention or whisper it or, over the years. But realizing that this is starting to become a regular thing, and that it also, I'm not saying this has not been a thing throughout history in all kinds of martial arts. I mean, the freaking doctor for the female gymnast was I think put in prison for assaulting the freaking Olympic gymnast team or whatever. Like, this is a thing that happens. The problem is we allowed this. First of all, we allowed this. We allowed guys to do this because of idolatry. Simple and plain. You look at these guys because they choked out the next guy in the competition, or because they know how to spin on their back and do a move under your legs and then jump up on your neck or whatever. It's the coolest thing you've ever seen. You decided that somehow it's so cool. It's okay to leave your 12-year-old daughter with them, 13-year-old daughter. I don't listen. I'm of the Cain Velasquez uh, clan. I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I've been doing Muay Thai for 20 some odd years. If you touch my daughter, I will probably not use either one of those. I can't understand why we allowed the idolatry to get this far. For me, it was just jiu-jitsu. Like, hey, guy can do jiu-jitsu. Can you show me? Hey, man, that guy beat 15 people. Can you show me how you did that? But this is part of the overall problem. It's the same problem we just talked about with the White House. It's the right leaning, machismo, testosterone filled, no compassion, complacent nonsense. I mean, there's a million words I could use, like complacency by those that people that know and hear about it and never say anything. Just in case you were wondering why I said complacent, it's a big deal. There was a thing about Isaac Michelle. There's the guy from B Team that was taking pictures of girls and making them videos or whatever. And every day now I'm starting to wake up, and if I get on Instagram, it's like women are dropping Instagram posts about SA and jiu-jitsu gyms, like Kendrick disses. Like, the instructors can't even respond. The gyms can't even respond before another woman comes out and drops another thing. Listen, we allowed this, and we have to be way more responsible about who we are as practitioners, as black belts, as gym owners, as human fucking beings. There is a level of like camaraderie and closeness that you get from doing jiu-jitsu with people and being around them. But these people that are using this jiu-jitsu to take advantage of people and to SA people and to threaten people are the worst fucking people on earth. I mean, they should be on that list. The list I'm talking about. You're welcome at Lucky's Muay Thai. I will do everything in my power to protect you from SA assholes. This jiu-jitsu thing is heartbreaking because, like I said before many times, jiu-jitsu was a place where it was like, the families are coming, the kids are in, the moms and dads are like, oh, I'm going to do it too. They're joining. Everybody's doing it together. And then all of a sudden, not everybody, a lot of people started leaning right, and a lot of people started coming out of their skin and saying a lot of nasty things, and then they got mad they couldn't say this word and that word, and then a lot of the families started kind of and then the stuff that got pushed to the forefront was this: I'm better, I'm bigger, I'm faster, I'm stronger idolatry. if you're putting your kids in a martial art, please make sure that you know about that martial art and about who's instructing it. My buddy Ben, who owns ATT Palm Beach, and the guys at BJJ Dummies, they run a thing called Academy Safe. It's, as they describe it, a full background check. It is everything that every big gym owner, even small gym owner, if you're hiring outside of your gym, it's everything that you need to know about the backgrounds of the people that you're hiring and the gym, the people that run the gym. On top of that, it's got a lot of other things available on it on the app. I just feel like if you're running a gym, you need to make sure that the people that are working for you are safe, and that if you hear murmurs about some shit going on, that you need to stomp that shit, literally. I don't even know what to say about this other than like it's already difficult for women to get involved with jiu-jitsu just based on the closeness, and because there's not a ton of women, a lot of times they have to roll with guys, so it's already a little uncomfortable. And you add the fact that you have SA going on in different gyms, different across the country, and it's like, why would anybody want to bring their kids to do jiu-jitsu? Why would anybody new female woman, teenage girl want to come and do jiu-jitsu if these are the things they have to worry about? All you big bad motherfuckers that are in the gym, if you hear about this, fucking do something. Because I don't know I don't understand how all y'all so big and bad in these fucking jiu-jitsu gyms all over the place, and this shit is happening right under your nose, and you ain't doing nothing. You ain't saying, yo, let's go outside. What happened? Y'all ain't tough? I thought y'all was tough. Because I see it at some of these like high level tournaments, guys are pushing, shoving each other. They want to do whatever. What happened to the honor in that black belt? Like, you heard something about Sally, somebody is possibly getting sexually assaulted by Bob, and like, you ain't gonna say nothing to him? You ain't gonna drag him outside to the car? All right. All right. There are no heroes. Just so you know, your BJJ black belt guy is not a hero. I am not a hero. Don't believe it. Don't trust it. Trust the techniques. That's it. If you happen to find somebody that's a great person, awesome. Otherwise, trust the techniques, trust the jiu-jitsu. Don't trust the people until you can, which fuck, who knows at this point. Damn, that's disappointing. Okay, the BMF belt is on the line. Oh, before I move on to that, let me just say real quick that Atos was the last gym involved in the SA scandals going on. And there's one right by my house, like right literally a block away. And I walked by there a couple times. I don't think I ever walked in, but nonetheless, like right there by my house. And I'm supposed to like now be like, hey, I would take somebody there to go do jiu-jitsu. Man. All right. BMF titles on the line. Max Holloway, Charles Oliveira. Who you got? Man. I just got to say something really quick before I make my decision and my prediction. Charles Oliveira's record is 36-11. One no contest. Max Holloway's record is 27-8. I just have to say that these are both. Listen, we know they're Hall of Fame fighters. These are Hall of Fame records for MMA, man. These are great fucking records, man. For the length of career they've had, crazy record. I think that they are very similar fighters. Oliveira's got, I think, a size advantage here. Yeah, he's got a 5-inch reach advantage. But Max has a 1-inch height advantage. So they kind of offset a little bit. I don't know, man. I always say, like, when I see these guys fight, they're very similar. They're both warriors. They both have a similar body type. similar records, similar skill set. Obviously, Charles Oliveira is considered the better jiu-jitsu player, but this is MMA, and in MMA jiu-jitsu, yeah, pretty solid, both guys. So, both coming off of wins. Prior to that, knockouts to Ilia Topuria, but wins off of that. Wow. These are like two of my favorite fighters. You hate to see either one of them lose. Don't you want to just have a great fight and leave it a draw? I mean, Max Holloway takes this. Unless he gets caught and Oliveira jumps on his back, or follows him down and somehow starts just grappling strong with him, where I think he'd have a big advantage. I mean, who knows? Max can probably get out of whatever anyway. But I feel like Max on the feet is more accurate and more busy. Oliveira is not busy enough, but he can catch you. And if he catches you, his first thing is to jump on top of you. So I'm still going to go with Max just based on the fact that he is way busier and a lot more accurate. And all he has to do is try not to get caught. Max Holloway is the BMF and will be after this weekend. Man, that took a while. 27-minute episode. I might have to split this thing in two. Anyway, I'm out. If you like the show, keep the like, hit the subscribe, drop a comment. Let me know what you think about the Whitehouse card, about Gina Carano, Ronda Rousey, about BJJ's SA problem, and who you got for BMF. Let me know. I'm out. Peace.